Thanks, everybody. Kate Nelson from UW-Milwaukee. I'm here to share. This really does come from another working group that has been a little bit sleepy because we really wanted to see how the work was playing out. These working groups have been incredibly active, and it seemed better to let things rise more naturally from the discussion. So before we go further, just to let you know, we do have this work group, and if anyone's interested in joining us, I think this meeting in particular will help us re-energize. We have had a full year of working group, not to mention also collaboration on documentation recommendations that went to the governor's task force as well. So there's just been an intense amount of work across the system lately, and it's really great to see what's rising to the top. So what I need you to do, I need you to write this link down and then don't go to it yet, please. Okay, we're gonna get a little interactive here, and I really hope this works because I've never used this tool before. So let's see what we can do. What is one word? One word. Anybody uses two, and I'm kicking you out of the meeting. What is one word you would use to describe your vision for UW system sustainability? All right, write that link down, pollev.com/Kate Nelson 074. Write it down. Okay, I'm gonna switch out of here for a moment. This is getting complicated. Hold on, don't go to the site yet. I need to, this isn't working. How do I stop sharing? There we go. All right. So type it in. We're going to give this a moment. You can think about it. It's okay. What is one word for your vision of sustainability in the UW system? If for some reason this is not working for you guys, let me know.
That's like a fun little word dance.
Yeah, I know. I like it live. That's why I didn't want you to do it before I got here.
No one said there'd be dancing involved.
Go for it, Dave. Dancing's always allowed. All right, I bet there should be a few more. I know there's more of you out there. I like it. Give you just a few more seconds. Data, I love it. Data made it on the screen. That's great. All right, we've got, well, they're still growing. All right, we've got equitable, collaborative, collaboration, cohesive, adaptive, leader, innovation, empathy, resilience, intersection, communal, regenerative, lasting, divestment, community, climate network, achievable, leading, compassionate, inclusive, vigilant, neutrality, integrated, holistic, impactful, sharing, revolutionary, and connected. That's really beautiful. This is going to be saved by me, just so you know. So I'm gonna have this, and this is going to help guide our work. So thank you. That was really fun. Let me go back to my PowerPoint. Thanks, guys, for letting me try out a new technology. Like Kathy said, like, you know, you're really just keep learning. Just keep, no more PowerPoint. And here I am with a very ugly PowerPoint, right? It's terrible. I just didn't have time. and you know, it's more about the discussion. So just to share with you guys, we're talking a lot about these work groups, and I might be a little redundant here, but so we challenged all of the work groups to come up with their own goal. It's really great to see this take place. I want to thank Bree, who's out there in the world in Colorado. I think she really helped us start to get this communication narrowed in, and the formulation of the work groups has really helped bring our focus. So maybe we almost don't need a goals group, because we already know what work we want to work on. So each of the goals group had to come up with their description. So just share with you, since if you don't go to the documents that often, let's just read it. For the energy benchmarking group, establish a consistent framework for sustainability related data collection and reporting across multiple UW system campuses that creates efficiency and transparency for shared and individual reporting requirements. This focuses primarily on utility data, including electricity, steam, natural gas, and water, and a consistent data management platform for visualization software to automate some reporting functions and interpret impacts of projects on reducing resource use and environmental impact. Okay, should have done my breathing exercises this morning. Moving on, STARS, they are the overachievers of our group for sure. This group has actually really been around before there was a work group. Wes mentioned earlier, we'd all just copy his work, and I want to truly give him credit for that, because he always did such a good job that when it was a statewide issue, we copied Wes and Whitewater. He was very conservative about his approach, which was really good. So the STARS group is working to develop materials to create consistency between responses for STARS credit areas that reflect UW system policy and our state of Wisconsin statutes, and a peer review process, that's new, to facilitate collaboration and create efficiencies for completing an accurate STARS report and improve all UW system institutional STARS scores. Number one, develop materials including STARS credit response language that supports UW system school completion of STARS reports. Two, develop a process to complete peer reviews of UW system school STARS reports. Three, identify and collaborate on initiatives that can improve all UW system school STARS scores. And they include two stretch goals, which I really admire. We do that in our office a lot. Support UW system schools to ensure that each 4-year institution has completed at least one STARS report. And number 5, establish STARS related metrics for internal UW system reporting dashboard. We get to the position, advocating position at UW system and within the state, a little more self-explanatory. Our goal is to present a request and reasoning to justify the hiring a UW system sustainability director position. In the end, our overall goals would be to see this position created and hired. Here we have our climate advocacy group. This one, I will say from my experience on it, we've been in a lot of different angles and corners trying to figure out how we want to do this through curriculum and so forth. But really, we've latched ourselves onto making sure that we're supporting the work and the planning of the climate task force at the state level. And I think that that's where this will go. But there's no official goal that has been written up by this group. And then we have the coordinating and planning annual meetings. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. You guys are off the hook. I think you're obviously doing a really great job In fact, I'd say you completed your goal by getting us together today. So, but I also want to recognize, and this is probably food for fodder later in this discussion, but there were 5 others that we brought forward that no one is working on. We were probably a smart thing to prioritize what we were doing, but it's interesting because I look at these 5 groups and I think that I could talk about all the work groups and they're thinking about these things at the same time. So what's been kind of set aside that we might want to bring forward: identify shared sustainability curriculum actions, already heard that today. Identify shared energy source and use actions. Identify grant and funding opportunities, which the energy benchmarking group is working on, I know. Improve communication between schools. And last but not least, identify shared waste recycling actions. And so as sort of the coordinator, I guess, of this goals group, I want to reconvene. And I think it's best that we do the work by hearing from all of you. You really, thank you for the vision exercise. That was really fun. I want to do that like every meeting now. But yeah, let's just open this up. Take yourself off your mic. I can't see all your faces, so I can't see hands and things, but what advice do you have for the goal setting team? What are your thoughts on the vision and goals and leadership of us? All of us, every one of you.
I'll go. A couple of thoughts I've been thinking about since ASHE that I would like to see us work on from all of the UW campuses. One is obviously, taking some meaningful steps towards climate action. And I've been thinking a lot about this because I'm on the climate advocacy group, and I know we've gone back and forth about different ways to move an initiative forward. I know there's also been a lot of discussion about PPAs and VPPAs and what does that look like, and what power do we all have together, or at least in tandem, right? Like for each of us to work on this stuff. So to me, that really rises up as a super high priority of meaningfully bringing new renewable energy into the overall grid system and reducing our scope 2 emissions for all the campuses. The other thing I've been thinking about a lot is procurement, and how do we as system schools work together to change policy around procurement, or at least change I don't know, the thought processes, or how we just address procurement, because I think a lot of our waste issues, right, really stem from the stuff just getting on our campuses in the first place. That's something that I just think about a lot at UW-Oshkosh, and I would like to integrate our facilities and custodial staff and others more into those conversations. Certainly it's hard right now with COVID and tight budgets and all of those other things, but if I had to kind of identify two top things, I would say energy, addressing energy in a VPPA way, and addressing procurement to really think about not, the kinds of things we get on our campuses and how to deal with them.
Thanks, Brad. Others chime in on Brad's thoughts or your own in terms of our goals.
This is Eileen again. Wondering if there's still any coordination between sustainability people and like the procurement group system-wide. We actually had, this is over 5 years ago, where we would have a sustainability person go to the procurement conference, system-wide one. And, in 5 years is a heck of a long time with turnover and everything. So that might, if you got a kind of a group statements together and then have one of you present, even if it's, Zoom conference, to the system procurement people, because they have an annual meeting. And I think it's even twice a year. So just a thought there.
Thanks, Eileen. I'm glad you brought that up. I feel like I've only been able to work on particular contracts, and I think others have probably been in that same place and haven't had that discussion in a while. We do have some contact at system, but without you there, we don't have regular contact with system
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, and Ruth Ginsburg, who is with procurement, is still on the listserv, but does not participate. And I talked to her yesterday.
Ah,
She's trying to find a replacement, but doesn't have any takers. So the person to contact higher up would be Ruth Anderson. So she's the head of procurement and safety and loss prevention, but Ruth would be the person to bother.
thanks, Eileen.
Not bother, but ask for assistance.
Could you share your question again? I forgot. I got off on a tangent.
It is, sorry, slow. What advice do you have for the goal setting team? What are your thoughts?
I know something that comes to mind for me is if the goal setting team could look at overlaps between the various goals that the groups set up, and really focus on, trying to distill that and getting support across the UW system to go ahead with those goals.
I suppose another approach possibly for the goal setting team, it's not something that any of the rest of us have been really intentional about within the working groups, but try to ensure that we have representation from all the schools in some way through the groups, or at least in that goal setting group. I think it would be important to make sure, if we're claiming to be the voice of all campuses, that we're, being intentional about all campuses being included, even for some that might not have the same kind of infrastructure on the sustainability side as others, but to find ways to draw them into the conversation, even if their time is more limited. I think of my old friend Dusty floating around out here that, we usually see at the meetings, but he's got so much else on his plate that it's hard to, for him to get involved in other ways. But I think it is really important to make sure we get Superior's perspective, and make sure that all those views are represented.
I see Dusty on this call. I wonder if he wants to comment.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm going to start calling on people, Dusty. You might as well go.
So question being, what can be done to help out up here? Or?
We'll have representation. What is a way that we can have, Superior is a great example. You guys have always been doing things and always stayed connected, but I know your capacity has always been stretched. So what's a good way for us to engage with a campus like yours to keep you involved as these working groups and goals get set?
Well, certainly one thing is, I'm going to be making it more of a priority moving forward. I need to get involved in the meetings, monthly meetings and stuff. But I think some of the conversations of the different ways of doing the more kind of immediate chats or things like that, when things come up, I think is really good. Unfortunately, I'm still old school, so email is still kind of my main deal. So I'm old. That's the way it goes, but I can be brought up into newer technology as well. But I think that works out really well. I've quite honestly struggled a little bit with the Google stuff just because I don't use Google on anything else for us just in general, but I've been able to make that work. but I think that communication, being something that's, I think the emails that have been sent out and everybody to the listserv has been very, very helpful for us up here. I don't always comment, but I do always kind of keep in touch and see all of that. So that's been very helpful. I've also been trying to get those that are part, we've got a sustainability working group and we've got a sustainability committee. The working group does have more of the faculty and staff, and we were doing pretty good on that prior to the COVID hit, which has been a little more difficult for us to get together. But with that, I'm trying to get everybody to participate a little bit more, but I think everybody's been kind of overwhelmed with certainly faculty members having to redo a lot of what they do to an online version and so on. I think they've been a little overwhelmed with that to be involved in some other things. But I've been trying to kind of keep everybody involved in trying to get onto that listserv and kind of hear what's going on and participate as well from the campus perspective. But like I say, hopefully as we get into the next semester here, we're going to be able to participate a little bit more. So
That's awesome. That's really awesome. What are some other thoughts out there? You're all very opinionated. I know you have something to share.
I'm going to keep talking because nobody else is coming off mute. So something that kind of comes to mind is like, it kind of responding to what Dusty had to say. You know, we all, as working groups, submitted our goals. And I think we submitted it back to the goals group, right? Like your group. So all the working groups kind of get, you know, a little bit more tunnel visioned into their specific areas. But being kind of deliberate about the way we report out and even kind of coming up with like one-page briefs of like the goal, the recent actions, and the impact or input or feedback we're looking for from other campuses, and then using those types of shorter documents, summary documents to communicate out to the different campuses. Then it's not up to Dusty to like figure out how to log onto Google Drive, navigate the folder structure that, you know, nobody really knows for sure how it's all organized anymore. Because that was mostly Allie that did that. And, you know, getting into the meeting minutes and then hoping that the meeting minutes are updated and, you know, in a readable way. And that's always kind of inconsistent between different working groups. That, you know, basically having the group, the goals group kind of prompt the working groups like you did with the overall goal to keep feeding information up to collect it, I think might be a useful approach. At least to kind of document what work is being done. And then that can be communicated out to the larger group to make sure that there's that avenue for input. So that might be a thought on how to bridge that gap.
very well said. I like that. That sounds really good.
Taking to you, Dusty.
I appreciate that.
Hey guys, my name is Andy Demetza. I'm on my way to organic farmer over in Luxembourg, Wisconsin. I've worked with UW System in the past. I used to work with Growing Power. Please don't throw tomatoes at me. And something that I'd like to see in the goals would be a key performance indicator that measures how well the different parts of the land grant systems coordinate for farm sustainability efforts. So for instance, extension and sustainability working together would be really important. Now I'm in the process of installing solar electric, solar thermal, rainwater catchment for irrigation, cover cropping to increase my organic matter in the soil. And it's been, I'm lucky I have a background where I can handle this at an engineering level, but I have a lot of friends who have tried to farm and they didn't, and it overwhelmed them. They're out of business. And we need to be able to find those line items in our profit loss statements where we can financially justify sustainable initiatives on farms. I guess the KPI would be find that line item. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. I want to push you a little bit as an working with a farm as like kind of an outsider to the traditional folks who are here. Like how would you imagine we all work together to tap into some of that or to better connect with our local farms? I know there's a lot of initiatives that many of us have been a part of, but how do you see that?
The thing that would work best for us on farms is the regulatory and I don't want to say grant, but subsidy is the landscape of that is a beast to navigate through. And sometimes sustainability has one set of rules, and then land grant and DATCAP will have a different set of rules. And if we could find somebody who could coordinate, so for instance, you're a farm and you're creating increased organic matter in your soil while dealing with your water. How does DATCAP, UW Extension, and sustainability offices, what are the resources that these three groups have to make that situation work? And it's going to be tough because you're synergizing multiple disciplines that have been siloed for however long the land grant colleges have been alive.
Thank you. That's interesting. I don't know who might speak to some experience in that in their role. Anyone? Mary. Well, wait, Mary.
Hey, can I just chime in here? This is Maria Redmond from the Office of Sustainability and Clean Energy. And, my job really here is to sit and listen to the ideas and figure out how, and I mentioned this in the breakout room, as to how to connect the dots. And so if there are opportunities to synergize the work or help identify the gaps or challenges that the system is facing, is to connect you with the agencies and like bring these ideas and connect everybody. So like I sort of see that as being a good role for me and our office. So I'm just throwing that out there that I'm engaging all the agencies on this work. So if that's something that rises to the top that we want to engage JACCAP and DNR and bring everybody together to talk about it, so that we can move projects forward, I'm happy to do that.
Thank
That
you.
would be great. Water and soil focus coupled with productivity of products we can sell so we can stay in business are probably the two most important things to coordinate on. So thank you.
Yeah, this is Missy. Sometimes the universities aren't always the conveners of those groups, or Maria's office. There are a lot of NGOs, so we're working on something in Madison that's got DACCAP, DNR, but the university didn't bring it together, but we're definitely a part of it, as and we pull an extension to that. So it might be just something we have to identify all of the assets beyond our state agencies that might be able to bring those groups together.
All right, I know Jake is going to make us all go to lunch very soon. I'm going to look at the chat and see if there's anything else, or else you can email me. This is always something you can ponder. I know a lot of you have been doing the hard work for a number of months. So please, if you have thoughts and if you see something missing, you can bring it to our group. So thank you.
I'll just add real quickly, if you do want to join the discussion with the goals group, I think you can reach out to Kate to get the invites. And I'm guessing you're meeting on a monthly basis. Bi-monthly, tri-monthly,
Maybe quarterly.
semi-annually.
No, I think we needed to see how the work was going to play out. Now we will likely be meeting more regularly. Now I feel like we have something to go on.
Sure, gotcha. So contact Kate if you want to get an invite for whenever the meeting happens to occur.
All right, thanks so much, Kate, and thank you everyone else for all your participation so far this morning. It's been really great. we are going to go ahead and break for lunch.